the first reason why Americans are broke and tend to stay broke is that we aren't actually taught personal finance.
Yeah, it's no surprise. I mean, if you think about it, we actually went and pulled which states mandate some type of personal finance in high school. And right now, there's only 10 states have fully implemented personal finance classes in high school. However, because I love good news, there are another 15 states that are in the closing section of actually having this implemented as well. So we will soon have right at 50% of the states having some type of personal finance.
Now, I'll be honest, this always sticks in my craw. Like, this really upsets me because I think about all the stuff that I learned in high school, and I think about the chemistry that I learned and the international cash crops I learned about, and how not valuable that...
You don't use beakers every day?
Right, you know what I mean? And we had to learn about titration and all this kind of stuff. And meanwhile, the average student graduating right now doesn't understand how compound interest work. They don't understand how to balance a checkbook. I do that in air quotes because it's different, but how to understand how you match debits and credits. That should be baseline, and yet most folks are not figuring that out.
Now, before you just pick on the schools, or I picked on the schools as well, our parents are struggling with this.
True.
And look, I even come from this. I grew up in a household where, tons of love in my household, love my parents, but they were very quick to share with me that wealthy people don't pay taxes. Now, look, I will tell you, that might be true for the ultra rich.
The ultra wealthy.
For the guy who probably owns a factory down the street, I remember when I got into public accounting and I called my dad the first tax season and said, "Dad, guess what? These rich people pay a lot of taxes." So I'm telling you, the local business person down the street probably pays a lot of taxes. The other thing, my dad and my mother just didn't understand investing. Their idea of investing was just put it in the bank, whether it's a savings account, a CD. That type of stuff is starting in the home front. And if you don't actually learn how to use money as a tool, it really can hinder your performance in the long term.
And so students are not being educated, and then parents have bad information or misinformation that they're passing along. Okay, so why is this a problem? Why is this something that should be addressed? Well, unfortunately, the first interactions most people have with money are some of the most dangerous. The thing that we get introduced with first can be the largest anchor that exists in our entire financial life.
Think about this, student loans. I mean, this is one where a quarter of student loan borrowers said they didn't understand the terms and policies of their loan before they even took them on.
Think about what that means. I'm signing up to have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of debt. I'm signing on the line. I'm 18, 19, 20 years old. I have no idea what this means, and yet I'm committing to pay back money that I have come nowhere near close to earning in my life thus far. How are we allowing our kids to do this?
Well, it's worse than the data actually proves the point that it is true. People truly are signing terms that they don't understand, because look at this. 52% think they don't need to worry about the interest accruing on their unsubsidized loans. 53% think that student loan payments are automatically based on income, not realizing you have to actually sign up to get into those programs. 71% think that private loans are eligible for that public service loan, what is it, forgiveness?
Public service loan forgiveness, yep.
See, we practiced this in show prep, and somehow it just didn't get it in there, so it is what it is.
Yeah, and so think about it. These kids, these young adults are signing up for a time period that for most people is only 3 to 4, maybe 5 years, and they're signing up for tens of thousands of dollars of debt that will likely take them decades to pay off. So it's a problem. It is something that can be dangerous, but it's not just student loans. That's not the only kind of debt that young people are facing. We're also facing credit card debt. It has become so easy in the world in which we live today to subsidize our lifestyle, and instead of being able to pay for stuff today, I can swipe today and pay tomorrow.
Well, the stats, look at this. 44% of college students say they aren't taught about credit cards before they just signed up for one.
They just get one and, it's great. It just swipes and it works.
Well, and what I found funny when we were putting this all together is that, look, I know millennials have been falling prey to getting a free T-shirt for a credit card.
Every college campus.
But that's not a new problem. When I was in college, at least y'all get a T-shirt. You can wash a t-shirt. You can wear a t-shirt later on and be reminded of your bad decision while you're in college. When I was in college, they were actually getting people to sign up for credit cards with Lay's potato chips. I mean, these things at the time, now look, I know potato chips cost a little bit more now, but back then I was like, these people are literally signing up for a bag of dollar potato chips to get credit card debt that's going to ruin their financial life. So this is not getting better.
Well, and it's actually, it's not just college students. It's not just young people. Americans in general don't understand credit cards. 38% of Americans, this is according to information by Credit Karma and Bankrate, 38% of Americans falsely believe that they should keep a balance month to month to build a better credit score. Meaning, if I pay it off every month, my credit's not going to get better. That's wrong.
I think that's exercise. That's not credit cards.
Exactly right.
That's definitely a problem. And then 2/3 of people in credit card debt are still trying to maximize credit card rewards. Do you realize that 1%, maybe 2% if it's one of those really heavy reward credit cards, is likely charging you a 20% interest rate? That is arbitrage in reverse,
That's exactly
meaning
right.
it is turning compounding interest into an enemy, not an ally. Don't fall into that trap.
Another problem about being miseducated as it relates to finances is that you don't recognize how easy investing mistakes can be incredibly expensive over the long term. Here's a real easy example. Think about the folks that don't go out there and get their employer match. We know that 22% of 401k participants out there are leaving free money on the table. Well, if you were to take just that free money you're leaving on the table and compound it over a lifetime, it can be a substantial sum of money. So that small, seemingly insignificant mistake can be huge.
Well, and it breaks my heart. I know the first account to cross into seven figures is typically like the employer 401k.
Sure.
However, listen to this stat. For every $1 contributed to a 401k, which we know is a powerful wealth builder, 40 cents out of that dollar comes out as premature withdrawals. These things are leaky.
It's super leaky. Or how about people not even understanding how their 401k works? How many times, Brian, have we seen an educator, sat down with a school teacher, a school counselor, said, hey, yeah, I met with my benefits person and I did my 403b and I did my 401k and I'm just using the stable value option, not recognizing that, hey, you're a young person who has decades for this money to grow. You should be letting these dollars work for you. When you just park it in that stable value fund, in that conservative holding, this could be costing you tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in the future.
So, Bo, how do you do it better? What's the way out?
So the very first thing, and you guys, if you're here right now, if you're listening to the show, if you're dialed into the Money Guy, you're already doing this because step one is educating yourself. How do I begin to understand personal finance better? How can I separate all the false information or misinformation from actual actionable information that I can take to improve my financial life?
And that's why we have been creating this content since 2006 and really trying to show people there is a better way to do money. This is why we lean so heavily into the financial order of operations, because if you just can understand what to do with your next dollar, you really can maximize every dollar in your army of dollar bills.
The other thing that you can do is know when it makes sense to ask for help. Don't feel like you have to live in the financial world in a vacuum. There are tons of resources out there from blogs and podcasts and YouTube videos where you can educate yourself, but there are also professionals out there that would love to help you, that can help guide you through making the financial decisions that you want to make. We actually have a whole curriculum built at learn.moneyguide.com to walk you through that so you don't feel like you have to navigate all of these decisions completely on your own, isolated in a vacuum.
And then the last thing, I want you to be fearful when you use debt. If it doesn't scare you, you're probably not respecting it and you're probably not using that dangerous tool effectively.